My name is Keegan Hollenbeek, and this is video log 2 for the Global Learning Project about the first interaction. So for this interaction, me and my partner Yu Feng went to the cafeteria for lunch, and we talked a little bit, about his school experience and my school experience and the culture and differences in learning and stuff. We talked about, specifically schooling and classes and stuff like that. And then I also introduced him a little bit to the culture in my school, like football games, school assemblies, traditions, things like that. For example, one of the big differences in schooling was math classes. So he said that from elementary school through high school, he wasn't allowed to use a calculator for math class. And that was because they wanted to really drill in, the fundamentals of math to these students. So they didn't want them just to be able to plug it in and just get the answer like that. They wanted them to be able to be capable of actually doing the math. Another difference was that throughout the school day back in China, students would stay in one classroom all day, and the professors would actually come to them, or the teachers would come to them, rather than students transferring from classroom to classroom. They would have the professors transfer from classroom to classroom, and the reason for that was because it made less of a distraction in the hallway. But yeah, and then we talked about a little bit about memory, and we pretty much have a very similar technique, so there's not a whole lot of difference there. But for memory, both of us like to read the textbooks, until we get all the information down, and we like to read them prior to class as well. And we use a lot of flashcards when we got to get terms, so that's kind of how we go about studying for exams. However, for attention, Yufeng did say that staying in one classroom all day was pretty tough for him, and he had a hard time paying attention by the end of the day because there was no setting change. And so, you're sitting in one room all day learning a few different things. That'd be pretty tough, so I get what he means. Whereas for me, like, in high school, we had, 50-minute classes, and then we'd go to a different class and learn about a different thing. And have some time to talk to our friends in between classes and things like that. So it wasn't that hard for me to pay attention in class. And then when we discussed culture, I showed you Feng a picture from our high school student section for a football game, and he was pretty blown away by it because he wasn't really even familiar with football before coming to America, so he was shocked that that many people actually cared enough to go to football games, high school football games every week. But he also said it looked really fun. But yeah, I would say this interaction was pretty good. It was fun to get to know him. It gave me a opportunity to get to know him when I typically probably wouldn't. So yeah, overall I would say this interaction was successful.